Hi everyone, and welcome to a special edition Hero Arts video. Us girls decided to pick a stamp from our new 2012 catalog and do a pass the stamp video. And what we have chosen is on page 28. And this one is called The Large Flower Background. Here it is. And here is the stamp. It's a nice clean background, full size. And I'll show you what I've done with it. Here's my card. Don't know if you can see that very well. I've done a white embossed background on watercolor paper, and then I used my distress inks to kind of paint it in a little bit. And then I also chose a message set, excuse me, from this new little clear set, and it says thank you so much, and so I put that at the bottom. So each of us are going to show you a little clip of a video, and I'll start you off and show you how I made this card. To start my card off, I've stamped my large flower background onto some watercolor paper, and then I white embossed. And I've chosen some inks to use. My distress inks are Wild Honey, Rusty Hinge, Forest Moss, Peeled Paint, and Vintage Photo. I'm working on my craft sheet, and I'm just going to press my ink pads into the sheet. And I'll just go ahead and line them across the top of my work area here. And once I have my inks all placed on my craft sheet, I'm going to squirt them with a little bit of water. And here I have my bottle of water with a little bit of Perfect Pearls in it. And it's just because I'm too lazy to get a fresh bottle, so I've just grabbed the one that I already had. So here I'm dipping my fingers into the wet ink, and I'm just rubbing onto the embossed card. And the ink kind of goes into the little areas where the embossing is. It resists right away. And it gives you a nice depth and color blending right away. Your fingers are really good to use because they're non-absorbent, and it just allows the ink to flow. Occasionally I'll wipe off my fingers in the middle of this, and I forget which finger I was using for what color. But you kind of get the idea. You just kind of grab a finger for each color of the ink that you want to use and keep coloring your card. Once I've finger painted my resist image, now I'm going back with a small paintbrush, and I'm grabbing some darker color of my greens. I'm going to go back into my leaves and stems and kind of darken them up a bit so that they'll stand out from the rest of the greens. And here's how my card looks finished. I've used Tim Holtz's cabinet die to create my card, and I've white embossed my little image, my message, and then I also did some watercoloring on that. So this is my finished card, and next it's time to pass the stamp on to Jennifer.
Thanks for the stamp, Sherry. I really like this stamp because it would be great for vintage or elegant card. Today I decided to do something very feminine and show you how you can add watercolors to an embossed background. And this background is great for this because it has these great defined flowers that are really beautiful. So for this I have a watercolor paper where I've white heat embossed the background already. This is Perfect Pearl. It's a pigment powder, and I'm going to add a little bit of that to a water bottle here so that I can have like a pearly water. You can use any of the pearlized sprays that are on the market for this, or you can use plain water. So I'm just spraying some of this water onto my craft sheet here, and I have some watercolor pencils here. I like the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils quite a bit, but any would work. And the way I use my watercolor pencils is I just take the wet brush, I dip it into my pearlized water, and then just touch the tip of the pencil. I find I get better control this way. I love doing this technique because it makes me feel like I'm a true watercolor artist or a painter, which is something I definitely am not. So this is a great way to get the look of that without really having all that talent in you if you're like me. So and you could also just use the watercolor by scribbling it right onto the paper and adding water. But I think it's easier and you can get better control if you do it by picking up the watercolor from the tip of the pencil. So you can see I've done some flower here. You don't really have to spend much time. It kind of goes into different layers of thick color and light color on its own. So you can go and add some darker color with a darker color pencil if you'd like I'm doing here, and then go back to the softer color and kind of blend it. But really you can control it by how much water you use and how thick you put it on. Then you can go and add some green for the stem. And then I used a turquoise color pencil for the background. But you can see here I'm using more water, so I get a softer look. But you could go ahead and use less water and get a darker look if you'd like to. And you really can do this pretty quickly and get really a stunning background. So here's what it looks like when it dries a bit. You can kind of see the pearlize there that I get by using that pearlized water. But again, you could use regular water too. And here's the final card. I just added embossed greeting and some ribbon. So now I'm going to pass this stamp on to Lisa. Enjoy, Lisa.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Your card came out really pretty. I just love this stamp, and I think I'm going to try to stamp it using white StazOn ink on acetate. So let's see how that goes. So here's how it came out. I think it really does look like lace. So I thought I'd share a few tips and tricks about how I finished up the card. First, I inked up just the flower part of the stamp with white pigment ink. Then I embossed it with white embossing powder. Then I grabbed some Memento markers and scribbled them on an acrylic block to make a palette. Then I used a damp brush to pick up the color from the acrylic block and paint it right on the flower and the leaves. I just love how this turned out and how easy it is to do. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my trick for hiding the adhesive so that we can put the craft card inside the acetate one. So every place that there's some cardstock here, the message and the flower, you can go ahead and take whatever adhesive you like and just run it right along there so that then you have lots of adhesive, and some on the flower too. Okay, so then to finish up the card, now that you have the adhesive all underneath the flower and the message, you just take the note card that you're using for the inside, in this case the craft one, and go ahead and slide it into the acetate card and then press down, and you are good to go. It's all put together. Now that the card's all together, I went ahead and added some small and medium pearls from Hero Arts. And that was that. Okay, and here's the finished card. I love how it turned out, don't you? Alright, here's the stamp. Take it away, Sally!
Thanks, Lisa. That was great. And here's the large flower background again. I'm going to show you what I did to it. I'm really into making Christmas cards this week. You can never have too many of those because you always get extra ones that you have to send to people. So I'm going to show you what I did. Here's my finished product, and you can view it later on the blog. But this is what I did. I took the large flower background, I inked it up with our new green stamp pad, and I first put it on a dark green card. Then I took a little piece of ivory and stamped the same thing. I put the two next to each other with a tiny bit of adhesive in the middle, and then I zigzagged in red on my sewing machine. Next up, I had tons of scraps from our basic gray Christmas paper, so I took some 4 to 5 inch strips, bent them in half, and I started making layers of a tree. I just folded them in half and hit it with a stapler. And then you just work your way up to the top and make about 4 rows.
And here's a look back at our cards. This is my card, used painting with distress inks. And Jennifer's beautiful card, painting with watercolor pencils. Lisa's fun card, stamping on acetate and painting with markers. And Sally's adorable Christmas tree, stamped background. I hope you've enjoyed our video of looking at CG403, the large flower background. Thanks for watching, and please visit us at www.heroarts.com for more inspiration and ideas. Happy holidays!